came the dawn, and the battleships were belting away. We were off the coast of France. It was a rough, cold journey. We didn't have any rain. But we marvelled at the fact that we hadn't been bombed. We hadn't had interference from the Germans at all. This was quite marvellous, considering the thousands and thousands of ships that were there. We ran into the assault line, and we hit something a long way offshore. The other vessels passed us, and we could see they were having a bit rough, but we just couldn't move. We were stuck on this what turned out to be a sandbar. Anyhow, the instructions were to get ashore, save the boat, get ashore. They dropped the flap, and instead of the flap going down at about 30 degrees to allow the people to get off, it went flop, vertical, that's right, straight down. The first tank tried to get off, and it just disappeared under the waves. The second tank tried to get off, and as far as I recall, that turned turtle. Then it was the turn of the bulldozer and the bits and pieces towed behind him. That tried it, and that turned completely over, and it was absolute chaos. By this time we were beginning to get picked up by the guns from the beach. It was a case of every man for himself. We were told, get ashore, get ashore, get ashore. Well, having had, this would be our fourth landing, I had instructed my guys not to make sure their equipment was secure, but to fix it so that if you get in trouble, when you hit your belt, the whole lot will drop away. Whether they did or not, I don't know, because what happened afterwards, I'm not very little about. I had a friend with me, a signalman from the Royal Corps of Signals, and on his back he had a big 18 set, which was a big radio set which they used for communication between the different companies. And this was waterproofed, and he had absolute confidence that this would keep him afloat. But what happened? He stepped off and he went down like a log, bubble, bubble, bubble. Another one of my chaps said, I can't swim, Ollie. I said, well, I can't help under these circumstances. Every man for himself. Drop your kit and your lifebelt should save you. I've never seen him since. Whether he drowned or what happened, I don't know. The last thing that I remember is going into the sea, being tossed about, ditching my kit, and vaguely seeing my tin hat go floating down the channel. I shall never forget it, because the tin hat was a good friend who used for all sorts of things. In my semi-conscious state of mind, I could see craft moving around, and I felt somebody grab me, and when I came to, I was in a craft coming back here to England. How many survived from my landing craft? This I don't know, but I do know that one did, Jimmy Bellows. He found me out. But as regards the others, I just don't know. I have no idea, because I went into hospital. I was carried, as stated, I was carried ashore at Southampton docks, and the wife received a telegram stating I was missing, presumed dead. I went into hospital. I was in hospital quite a long time, suffering from exposure, shock, and all those bits and pieces that go with it. And my army service, I finished up in a convalescent depot as a sergeant working with the ATS. But that is about as much I can tell you of D-Day.